Three Forks!
Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. So today I thought that I would do a video on the tools that I use to fix and repair and clean the bikes that I get in donated for the donation program. Yeah, so it may be less tools than you would imagine or think possibly. It's amazing what you can do with what I have here. So yeah, stay tuned and I'm going to go through them.
All of these to fix all of this.
So this is the first tool I'm going to tell you about because I'm actually going to use this as a pointer. But the way it is, it's telescopic, is a magnet. So I use this tool to remove bearings out of the wheel hubs, out of the bottom brackets, out of the head tubes, headsets. Just a really overall handy tool to have. I find that I needed 2 sizes of cable cutters. I don't really use these to cut bike cable because I don't know if you've ever cut bike cable. It's hard to, you can cut it with these, but I actually have Pedro cable cutters for cable and housing because the cable's not so bad with these, but you can't cut housing with regular snips like these. So that's why I have this one here. The chain checker tool I use all the time on every bike I get. I have a bottom bracket remover here and one here. This is an Amazon one. It's a bike hand one and it works very well. This one is a Park Tool one. This is my backup. This is the one I use on real bad beater bikes. This is the one I use on bikes that I know are not going to be a problem. I don't want to wreck the tool. So this one, these 3 actually, are spoke wrenches, tire levers. I have a torque wrench here. This one I use quite a bit just for extra leverage for really tight headsets. This one has a T25 bit, and this actually is an attachment for the ratchet. I have a number 14 attachment on this ratchet. About 90% of the time I see a number 14, but the other 10% of the time is a number 15. For the bottom bracket bolts is mostly what I use that for. This is just extra leverage for when I need to remove brake disc bolts. These are the newest additions, these 4 pieces here, this one, that one, that one, and that one. It's a pick set, and my son actually made a pick, handmade a pick. Anywhere from servicing forks, shocks, grips off of handlebars, yeah, just super handy. On top here we have the tire pressure digital indicator, and of course you got a bunch of cone wrenches here. So the most popular sizes are 15, 13s, and 14s. So this one here is a 13 and a 14 on this end, and I've got 2 of those guys because usually you need 2 cone wrenches when you're working on wheels, on the hubs, and removing axles, etc. This row right here are the most used tools on this board, along with, of course, the Allen wrenches. This one especially is the perfect fit for bottom brackets and headsets. And these are just a do-all wrench. Even though I don't really particularly like using these wrenches on bikes, the ones that I work on, it's okay to use these wrenches. This is all the back wheel bolts, axle bolts, front axle bolts, all this stuff. Very, very handy tool. It's a Campagnolo tool. And the number 15 wrench here is the one I use for pedals, removal and replacement. I only use that one for pedal wrench. And this one ends up being used as a brake bolt wrench. And this one ends up being used as a pinch bolt wrench for mostly for derailleurs, front and rear. And this is an Exacto knife I use for painting. And that blue stick there is in exactly another one of these telescopic magnets. This is what I attach to my drill when I'm doing prep work for painting, or just to get rid of rust or anything that I need to get rid of rust with. And I have two mallets. This is a true rubber mallet. This is extremely handy. This is the one I use most often. And sometimes I use the hammer. I have a pair of scissors that's very handy to have. The hacksaw is used to cut steer tubes for new fork installations. And then up here, right here, I have a shock pump. This is a combination bolt wrench that I've had since I was 12, I think. And I don't often use that, but it's there if I need it. Sometimes I do. And then here is a bottom bracket wrench slash center lock disc rotor. But mostly I use it for the chain whip. And up here, this end right there, I use to release the lock nuts on the bottom brackets. And then this is another chain whip I use for cassette removal. This sometimes I use to remove really tough to remove bottom brackets. The drive side is always really hard to remove. And the pipe wrench, the good old pipe wrench, is to remove seized on bicycle seat posts. At the very top, we got a pair of bolt cutters for really rusty chains. This tool I just got. It's so handy actually to have that for measurements, like precise millimeter measurements. I got the trusty old tape measure here for not so precise measurements. That was my grandfather's tape measure. And my father-in-law's tape measure there too. And here's a number T25 for the rotor brakes, disc rotor brakes. And I use a flathead, same with the Phillips. And then I have a stubby version of each as well, just for those tight times that I need to get into tight workspaces. And then sometimes I'll use one of these long flatheads just for leverage to pry or whatever I need it for. Sometimes also to bolt on specific derailleurs to the dropouts. I'll use this just so that I have lots of leverage and that bolt is nice and tight. So this, I keep a couple rolls of electrical tape. I of course come over here to the lube section. Right here is that is the anti-seize. And then I have WD-40 as like a do-it-all, except don't lube your chain with WD-40, please. This is alcohol isopropyl for disc rotor cleaning. And then over here I have some synthetic grease, high performance grease. And then here I have dry lube, bicycle chain lubricant. Behind that is wet lube. And then I have marine grease is what I use for greasing bottom bracket bearings, headset bearings, seat posts, all that stuff. I find that stuff so good. It repels water. It's marine grease, so it's made for that. And then these are just some of the things that I use to clean with. Super Clean is like the be all and end all of cleaning products for bikes. I absolutely love this stuff. And then I keep a couple rags, of course, all the time. And this is a mainstay for the bike bench. The Vise. This is a Shimano bottom bracket remover tool. This one is a cassette with a guide removal tool. That one I use on my own bikes. And this one here I use all the time. Every single bike I bring in. Every single one I use this tool. This is a freewheel removal tool. And this is a specific cassette removal tool. I've used that just a couple times. Of course, the park tool stand is like phenomenal. I have a video we did when we first got this stand. And that was over 2 months ago, and I can tell you that this stand has seen probably, it's pretty crazy. This stand's probably seen 40 bikes in the last 2 months, and it is perfectly fine. And then coming down here, I have, this is my drawer where I keep sandpaper if I have to resurface or redo disc brake pads, because right now clients are coming in sometimes, or if I take on clients' bikes, or if I have bikes that come in, they always, the pads are garbage. And right now to buy any bike parts, it's very difficult. So I kind of keep an inventory of stuff that we use all the time. So there's a bunch of bearings in there. These are cable end caps, and housing end caps. And I've got a whole whackload of housing and shift cable and brake cable and all that stuff in that drawer. And this is the odds and sods drawer. I've got extra grips. Zip ties is actually, I consider zip ties a tool. There's an extra headset there. There's a shifter. And yeah, that's all the tools that I use. So yeah, that's the end of this video, and those are literally all the bike tools that we own. We have all the tools we need. There are some other tools I'd like to have, but not in the cards yet. So we'll see what the future holds here. But yeah, we just we love
Christmas.
we love doing what we're doing, and like I say, we have everything that we need to do what we do with bikes, and yeah, it's all good. And most of those tools on there were gifted or like my grandfather's old tools. There are a few bike tools specific that I did buy, but I'd say 90% of those tools on that board are gifted or inherited, which is great.
And
You never
by
know.
the way, me saying Christmas is actually not Christmas, it's March.
It's March.
And we're going for a ride.
Yes, we are going for a ride
It's very
right now,
warm,
actually.
as you can see.
Yes, it's 20 degrees out, and we are going for our first ride of the season.
And I am going to be riding my Rip Rock for the first time
Yes.
on a real trail. So
Yes, he's going to christen it today.
hopefully that goes well.
Yes, it's going to.
Christmas.
All right, so stay tuned. Thank you for following the channel. Thank you for watching this video. Like, subscribe as per usual. And we'll see you on the next one.